Hello, my dear Virgo Moon friends. This is Susan Miller, and I need to have a very honest conversation with you today. You know, I've been studying astrology for over 35 years now, since my days at NYU back in the 1970s. And I have to tell you something, 2026 is going to be one of the most challenging and most rewarding years of your life. And I know that might sound contradictory, dear, but that's exactly what's happening. When I was sitting in my office here in Manhattan, going through my ephemeris, that thick book that shows me where all the planets are, plotting out 2026 for Virgo Moon, I actually said out loud, oh my goodness, because the karmic lessons coming for you this year, they're intense. They're going to push you in ways you haven't been pushed before, but they're also going to free you in ways you can't even imagine yet. Your moon in Virgo, that beautiful, discerning, analytical moon, it governs your deepest emotional needs, your sense of security, your instinctive responses, how you nurture yourself and others. And in 2026, the universe is going to teach you some very specific lessons about perfectionism versus self-acceptance, service versus self-sacrifice, analysis versus paralysis, control versus surrender, worth based on doing versus worth based on being. These are your karmic assignments, dear, and I'm not going to sugarcoat them. They're going to be uncomfortable, But here's what I want you to understand. Virgo Moon, you've been working so hard for so long, trying to be perfect, trying to fix everything, trying to be useful, trying to be worthy. And 2026 is the year the universe says, you don't have to try so hard anymore, you're already enough. That's terrifying for you, I know, because if you're not doing and fixing and improving, who are you? We're going to answer that question this year, dear, together. So take a deep breath. Maybe get yourself some tea. I know you Virgo Moons love your rituals. And let's talk about what your soul needs to learn in 2026. Now, before we dive into the specific lessons, let me explain something really important. Most people know their sun sign. I'm a Virgo or I'm a Leo, and that's wonderful. Your sun is your core identity, your life force, your essence. But your moon sign, dear, in your moon sign is something entirely different. And for yearly predictions, especially karmic lessons, your moon sign is actually more important than your sun. Your moon represents your emotional nature, how you process feelings, your instinctive reactions, your automatic responses, your sense of security, what makes you feel safe, your nurturing style, how you care for yourself and others, your subconscious patterns, the behaviors you fall into without thinking, your soul's memory, patterns you've carried through lifetimes. And when your moon is in Virgo specifically, oh dear, you have such a complex emotional nature. On the surface, you seem so calm, so together, so competent. People look at you and think they have it all figured out. They have no idea what's going on inside your mind, because inside, Virgo Moon is constantly analyzing everything, always finding what could be improved, never quite satisfied with anything, especially yourself, worried about getting things right, feeling useful only when you're doing something, anxious about making mistakes, striving for an impossible standard of perfection. You have such gifts, dear. You're analytical and intelligent. You notice details others miss. You're incredibly helpful and service-oriented. You have high standards and excellent discernment. You're practical, organized, and reliable. People depend on you, and you always come through. But here's where the karmic lessons come in. Those beautiful Virgo moon qualities have shadow sides. And 2026 is the year you're going to have to face those shadows head on. The helpful person becomes the martyr who resents everyone. The analytical mind becomes the critical voice that never shuts up. The high standards become the perfectionism that paralyzes. The desire to improve becomes the inability to accept anything as it is. The need to be useful becomes the belief that you're only worthy when you're productive. I've been doing this work since the 1980s. I've had hundreds of Virgo Moon clients over the years, and do you know what I hear more than anything? Susan, I'm exhausted. Susan, I can't turn my brain off. Susan, nothing I do is ever good enough. Susan, I don't know how to just be. I only know how to do. Does this sound familiar, dear? If so, you're in the right place, because 2026 is the year you learn a different way. Now please subscribe to my channel right now. I'm going to be posting monthly updates throughout 2026, specifically for moon signs, and you need this ongoing guidance. This is a journey we're taking together, dear. Alright, let me show you what's happening astrologically in 2026 that's activating your Virgo moon. Because these aren't random challenges, dear. They're designed, they're timed, they're perfect for your growth. Saturn in Pisces through February 14th. Saturn has been in Pisces since March 2023. For Virgo moon, Pisces is your opposite sign. So Saturn has been opposing your moon for almost 3 years. And Saturn opposite the moon says, let's look at your emotional patterns. Let's examine your coping mechanisms. Let's see where you're being too rigid. This opposition has been teaching you about letting go of control, accepting imperfection, trusting the process, surrendering to what you cannot fix. The first 6 weeks of 2026 are the final test of these lessons. Saturn is saying, did you learn, or do we need to go over this again? Saturn in Aries from February 14th onward. Then Saturn moves into Aries. For Virgo moon, this is your 8th house. In the natural zodiac, your actual 8th house depends on your rising sign, but the energy still applies. Saturn in the 8th house zone brings deep psychological work, facing your fears, dealing with issues of control and surrender, transformation through crisis, learning to trust what you cannot see or control. This is intense work, dear. Very intense. Neptune in Pisces through March 30th. Neptune has been in Pisces for years, since 2011. For Virgo moon, this has been a long, slow opposition. Neptune opposite your moon dissolves boundaries. It says, you can't control everything. You can't fix everything. You can't even understand everything. For Virgo moon, who needs to understand, analyze, fix, this has been deeply uncomfortable. The first 3 months of 2026 are the completion of this 13-year lesson. Neptune in Aries from March 30th onward. When Neptune moves into Aries, it joins Saturn there, both in your 8th house zone. This is about deep transformation. Dear, Neptune in the 8th brings spiritual awakening through surrender, dissolution of ego control, merging with something larger than yourself, facing your deepest fears, learning to trust the mystery. Jupiter in Cancer through June 9th. Jupiter in Cancer is a gift for you, dear. Cancer trines, harmonious aspect, Virgo. Jupiter says, I'm going to support your growth. I'm going to make it easier. This is about emotional nourishment, self-care, that's not just functional, feeling your feelings instead of analyzing them, nurturing yourself the way you nurture others. Jupiter in Leo, June 9th onward. When Jupiter moves into Leo, and it's still harmonious to your Virgo moon, sextile aspect, Leo energy brings joy, not just productivity, play, not just work, creativity, not just fixing, self-expression, not just service. Jupiter is saying, you're allowed to enjoy life, not just optimize it. Uranus in Gemini. Uranus in Gemini squares your Virgo moon. This is challenging but liberating. Uranus says, break free from your mental prison. Stop overanalyzing. Take risks. Make mistakes. Be spontaneous for once. For Virgo moon, who plans everything, analyzes everything, controls everything, this is terrifying, but it's also the key to your freedom. Do you see what's happening? Dear, the cosmos is creating a perfect storm to break you free from perfectionism, over-analysis, control issues, self-criticism, the belief that your worth depends on your productivity. This isn't punishment. This is liberation. Your soul is ready for this, even if your mind is scared. All right, let's talk about your first and biggest karmic lesson for 2026. This is the one that underlies all the others, dear. The lesson. Learning to accept yourself as you are instead of constantly trying to improve yourself. Oh, Virgo moon. I've worked with so many of you over the years. And do you know what breaks my heart? You're so hard on yourselves. So incredibly, relentlessly, mercilessly hard on yourselves. Every client with Virgo moon tells me the same thing. Susan, I know I should be better. Susan, I'm working on myself. Susan, I'm not good enough yet. Not good enough yet, as if you're a draft that needs editing, as if you're a project that needs completion, as if you're broken and need fixing. And here's what I need you to hear. Idea, you're not broken. You never were. You don't need fixing. You need accepting. What's happening astrologically? Saturn opposing your moon through February is the culmination of 3 years of this lesson. Saturn says, your perfectionism is a prison, and I'm here to free you from it. Neptune opposing your moon through March says, let go of the need to control and perfect everything. Surrender to what is, what this looks like, practically. January, the crisis point, early in the year. You're going to face a situation where perfectionism fails you. Maybe you work incredibly hard on something and it still doesn't turn out right. Someone criticizes you despite your best efforts. You realize you've been so focused on perfection that you've missed the point. Your body breaks down from the stress of trying to be perfect, and you're going to feel that Virgo Moon despair. I tried so hard. Why isn't it perfect? What did I do wrong? How can I fix this? The karmic test. Can you accept imperfection? Can you be okay with good enough? Can you love yourself even when you're flawed, messy, imperfect? Can you exist without constantly improving yourself? How to pass this test? Practice 1, the good enough challenge. For 1 month, I want you to try this for all of February. Practice doing things good enough instead of perfect. Not sloppy, not careless, just adequate, sufficient, good enough. Send the email without rereading it 5 times. Cook the meal without making it Pinterest perfect. Clean the house to tidy, not immaculate. Do your work well but not perfectly. And notice the world doesn't end. People don't reject you. Things still function. Good enough is actually fine. Practice 2, the self-criticism. Journal. Every time you criticize yourself, write it down. I'm so stupid. I should have done better. That was a mistake. I'm not good enough. At the end of each day, I read what you wrote and ask yourself, would I say these things to someone I love? The answer is no, dear. You would never be this cruel to anyone else. So why are you this cruel to yourself? Practice 3. Celebrate imperfection. Deliberately do something imperfectly. Wear mismatched socks. Leave a typo in a casual text. Serve a slightly burnt dinner. Make a small mistake on purpose. And then do nothing about it. Don't fix it. Don't apologize excessively. Don't beat yourself up. Just let it be. This is revolutionary for Virgo Moon. Practice 4. The I am enough mantra. Every morning, before you even get out of bed, say, I am enough right now, as I am, without doing anything. Say it even if you don't believe it yet. Say it even if your mind screams, no, you're not. Say it anyway. Your subconscious is listening, dear, and over time, it will start to believe. February through June, the deepening. Saturn moves into Aries in mid-February. The pressure eases slightly, but the lesson continues. You'll have ongoing opportunities to practice self-acceptance. Each time you notice the critical voice, ask, is this thought helpful, or is it just habitual self-attack? Would I say this to a child, to a friend, to anyone I care about? What would compassion sound like right now? July through December, the integration. By summer, something shifts. You start to notice the critical voice is quieter. You can accept mistakes more easily. You don't feel the need to constantly improve everything. You can just be sometimes. I'm without doing, you're kinder to yourself. And here's what's beautiful. When you accept yourself, you actually have more energy for genuine growth because you're not wasting energy on self-attack. You're not paralyzed by perfectionism. You're free to actually live. The karmic reward. By the end of 2026, if you do this work, you'll understand the difference between healthy discernment and toxic perfectionism. You'll be able to strive for excellence without being destroyed by the need for perfection. You'll know deep in your bones that you're worthy just as you are, not because of what you do, not because of what you achieve, not because of how useful you are, but because you exist. And dear, that's when you'll finally be free. Karmic lesson number 2. And oh, Virgo Moon, this one is so important. On the lesson, learning the difference between genuine service and self-sacrificing martyrdom. Let me tell you something I've observed in 35 years of practice. Virgo Moon individuals are the most helpful people in the zodiac. You're always there when someone needs you. You're the one people call when they need practical help. You're the one who shows up, who follows through, who actually does things. And that's beautiful, dear. That's a gift. But here's the shadow. You give and give and give and give until you're completely depleted, until you're resentful, until you've sacrificed your own needs so completely that you don't even know what they are anymore. What's happening astrologically? Saturn in Aries from February is going to challenge your patterns of service. Aries is about self-assertion, self-care, in self-direction. Saturn in Aries says, stop sacrificing yourself for everyone else. Start putting yourself first sometimes. For Virgo Moon, who's been taught that being selfless is a virtue, this feels wrong, selfish, unkind, un-Virgo. But it's not, dear. It's necessary. What this looks like practically, February through April, the reckoning. Around the time Saturn enters Aries, someone is going to ask you for help, and you're going to be tired, overwhelmed, at your limit. And you're going to want to say no, but your Virgo Moon conditioning says, but they need me. I should help. It's the right thing to do. If I don't help, I'm a bad person. So you say yes, and you help, and you're even more depleted, and you're resentful, and you think, why do I always do this to myself? If the karmic test, can you say no to helping when it comes at the cost of your own well-being? Can you recognize the difference between service, which energizes, and sacrifice, which depletes? Can you put yourself first sometimes without drowning in guilt? How to pass this test? Practice 1. The energy audit. Before saying yes to any request, ask yourself, do I have the energy for this right now? Not, could I force myself to do it? But do I genuinely have the energy? If the answer is no, the answer is no. Even if they need you, even if no one else will help, even if it disappoints them, your energy is finite, dear. Treat it as the precious resource it is. Practice 2. The resentment test. If you're about to say yes to something, imagine you've already done it. Do you feel good, fulfilled, happy you helped? That's service. I say yes, tired, resentful, martyred. That's sacrifice. Say no. If helping would make you resentful, you're not actually helping. You're just breeding resentment while appearing helpful. That doesn't serve anyone, dear. Practice 3. Self-care first. This is going to feel so wrong to you, but I want you to try it. Every single day, do one thing for yourself before you do things for others. Not after you've helped everyone. Not if you have time left over. First, maybe it's 10 minutes of meditation. Maybe it's a walk. Maybe it's a cup of tea in silence. Maybe it's reading a book just for pleasure. Something that nourishes you. Non-negotiable. Every day. First, practice 4. Delegate and accept imperfection. Here's a hard truth. Part of why you overgive is because you don't trust others to do things right. So you do everything yourself, and then you're exhausted and resentful. So practice this. Ask for help. And when someone helps you, even if they don't do it perfectly, let them. Don't redo it. Don't criticize. Just say thank you and accept the imperfect help. May through August, the practice period. The middle of the year, you're going to get many opportunities to practice healthy boundaries around service. Each time someone asks for help, check your energy, run the resentment test. Say yes only if it's genuine service. Say no if it's self-sacrifice. Notice, people adjust. They find other solutions. They learn to help themselves, and the world keeps turning. In September through December, the shift. By fall, you'll notice you have more energy because you're not depleting yourself. You enjoy helping more because you only help when you genuinely can. Your relationships are healthier, less resentment, more authentic connection. People respect you more because you have boundaries. And paradoxically, your service is more valuable because you're giving from overflow, not from depletion. The karmic reward. By the end of 2026, You'll know the difference between being helpful and being a martyr. You'll be able to serve others without sacrificing yourself. You'll understand that self-care isn't selfish. It's necessary for sustainable service. You'll have energy for what truly matters because you're not wasting it on every request that comes your way. And dear, that's when your service becomes truly sacred, not the resentful martyrdom, but the joyful overflow of a full cup. Dear, I can see you're still with me. Thank you for staying. Before we continue to the next karmic lesson, would you please subscribe to my channel? I'm going to be here with you every month throughout 2026, explaining these transits as they happen. You don't have to navigate this alone. I promise you that. And click the like button too. It helps other Virgo moons find this guidance they so desperately need. Now, let's talk about your third karmic lesson. Karmic lesson number 3. And Virgo moon, I know this one is going to hit home. The lesson: learning when to stop analyzing and start living. Your Virgo moon gives you an incredible analytical mind. You can see patterns others miss. You can break complex problems into manageable pieces. You can think things through from every angle. This is a gift, dear, a real gift. But the shadow of this gift is you analyze so much that you never actually move. You think so much that you never actually feel. You plan so much that you never actually live. I call this analysis paralysis, and I see it in almost every Virgo moon client I've ever worked with. What's happening astrologically? Uranus in Gemini squaring your Virgo moon all year. Uranus says, move, act, and do something spontaneous for once. But Gemini is also mental energy, so this square can actually increase the mental spinning. The key is to use Uranus's revolutionary energy to break free from overthinking. What this looks like practically all year, repeated patterns. You're going to face decisions that require you to act before you have complete information, opportunities that won't wait for you to fully analyze them, moments that require feeling instead of thinking. And your Virgo moon is going to want to research more, analyze longer, make pros and cons lists, consider every angle, wait until you're sure. But by the time you're sure, the moment is gone. The opportunity has passed. Life has moved on without you. The karmic test. Can you act on intuition instead of analysis? Can you make decisions with good enough information? Can you stop thinking and start feeling sometimes? Can you be spontaneous? How to pass this test? Practice 1, the 5-minute rule. When you have a decision to make, small or medium-sized, not major life decisions, give yourself 5 minutes to analyze. Set a timer. When the timer goes off, choose. No more analysis, no more deliberation, just choose. Practice 2, body wisdom. Your Virgo moon lives in your head, but your body has wisdom too. So practice this. When facing a decision, get out of your head, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask your body, what do I feel drawn toward? Notice, does your chest expand or contract? Does your stomach relax or tighten? Does your body feel lighter or heavier? Your body knows, dear. Trust it. By practice 3, scheduled spontaneity. I know this sounds like an oxymoron, but start here. Once a week, do something unplanned, not reckless, just unplanned. Take a different route home. Try a new restaurant without reading reviews first. Say yes to an invitation without checking your schedule. Buy something without researching it first. Small spontaneous acts to build the muscle. Practice 4, the good enough information. Point, you don't need 100% of the information to make a good decision. You need about 70 to 80%. So practice recognizing, I have enough information now, and then move. Stop researching, stop analyzing, stop thinking, move. The karmic reward. By the end of 2026, you'll have developed trust in your intuition, not just your analysis. You'll be able to make decisions more quickly and confidently, and you'll experience more aliveness because you're actually living instead of just thinking about living. You'll understand that some things can only be learned through experience, not analysis. And dear, that's when life becomes an adventure instead of a problem to solve. Karmic lesson number 4. And this is the deepest one, dear. The one that might bring up the most resistance. The lesson, learning to surrender control and trust the process. Oh, Virgo moon, you need control. Not because you're power hungry, but because control feels safe. If you can control the details, nothing will go wrong. If you can manage every variable, you'll be okay. If you can fix every problem, you'll be secure. But here's what I've learned in all my years of studying astrology. The universe is uncontrollable. Life is messy, and your attempts to control everything are actually making you less safe, not more, because you're exhausting yourself trying to control the uncontrollable. What's happening astrologically? Neptune in Pisces through March, opposing your moon. Let go, surrender, trust. Saturn in Aries from February, in your 8th house zone. Face what you cannot control. Neptune in Aries from March, also in your 8th house zone. Surrender to the mystery. The 8th house is about death and rebirth, letting the old self die so a new self can emerge. And that requires surrender, dear. Complete surrender. What this looks like practically, January through March, the initiation. Something is going to happen that you cannot control, and maybe a health issue that doesn't respond to your management, a relationship situation that won't be fixed by your efforts, a work problem that can't be solved through analysis, a life circumstance that's completely out of your hands, and you're going to try to control it anyway. You're going to research, plan, analyze, fix, manage, and it's not going to work, and you're going to feel that Virgo Moon terror. If I can't control this, if I can't fix this, what do I do? The karmic test. Can you let go? Can you surrender to what you cannot control? Can you trust that things will work out even without your management? Can you accept that some things are beyond your ability to fix? How to pass this test. Practice 1. Identify what you can and cannot control. Make 2 lists. What I can control, my own actions, my own responses, my own thoughts, with practice, my own choices. What I cannot control, other people's actions, other people's responses, outcomes, timing, most of life. Look at that second list, dear. That's what you need to surrender. Practice 2, the serenity prayer. Even if you're not religious, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Say this every day, multiple times a day when you're trying to control the uncontrollable. Practice 3, I trust. When you notice yourself trying to control something, stop. Put your hand on your heart, take a breath, and say, I trust. I trust that this will work out. I trust that I'm being guided. I trust the process. I trust that I don't need to control everything. Practice 4, surrender ritual. When you're really struggling with control, write down what you're trying to control, read it out loud, then say, I release my need to control this. I surrender it to the universe /God /higher power /the process. Then burn the paper, safely, or tear it up. Physical act of release. Trio, April through December, the deepening. From spring through the rest of the year, you'll have many opportunities to practice surrender. Each time you feel the grip of control, ask, is this mine to control? If no, practice. I trust, I surrender, I let go. And here's what will start to happen. Things will work out without your control, and sometimes better than they would have with your control. And you'll start to realize the universe has its own intelligence. Life has its own flow, and you don't have to manage everything. You can participate, you can respond, but you don't have to control. The karmic reward. By the end of 2026, you'll have experienced the peace that comes from surrender. You'll know the difference between responsible action and anxious control. You'll trust that you can handle whatever comes without needing to control it. You'll understand that true security doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from trusting yourself to navigate whatever arises. And dear, that's when you'll finally relax, for the first time maybe in your life, because you're not carrying the weight of controlling the entire universe anymore. And now, the 5th karmic lesson, the one that ties everything together, the lesson, learning that your worth is inherent, not earned, through productivity. Oh, Virgo Moon, this is your deepest wound and your most important healing. You believe, deep down, in a place you might not even consciously acknowledge, that you're only worthy if you're useful, only valuable if you're productive, only deserving of love if you're helping. So you work and work and work. You optimize and improve and fix. You serve and give and do. And you think, if I just do enough, then I'll be worthy. But dear, enough never comes. There's always more to do, always more to improve, always another way you're falling short. In what's happening astrologically, Jupiter in Cancer through June, trine your Virgo Moon. You deserve nourishment just for existing. Jupiter in Leo, June onward, sextile your Virgo Moon. You deserve joy just for being. Both of these are gifts from the universe saying, you don't have to earn your worth, you already have worth. What this looks like practically all year. The constant question, every time you rest, you feel guilty. Every time you play, you feel like you should be working. Every time you do something just for joy, you feel like it's wasted time. Because if you're not doing something productive, what's the point? The karmic test, can you just be? Can you rest without guilt? Can you play without feeling like it's a waste? Can you exist without needing to justify your existence through productivity? And can you believe you're worthy just because you are? How to pass this test? Practice 1. Radical rest. I want you to practice resting without justifying it. Not, I'll rest after I finish this. Not, I'll rest because I've earned it. Just, I'm resting because rest is a basic human need. Schedule rest like you schedule work. Put it in your calendar, non-negotiable. And when guilt comes up, and it will, say, I'm allowed to rest, I don't have to earn it. Practice 2. Useless activities. Do things that serve no purpose except joy. Read a novel, not a self-help book. Take a bath, not because you're dirty, but because it feels good. Watch a sunset, just to watch it, not to photograph it or make the most of it. Lie on the floor and stare at the ceiling. Do absolutely nothing and call it success. Practice 3. The I am worthy mirror. Work every morning, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am worthy. Not because of what I do, but because I exist. I am valuable. Not because I'm useful, but because I'm human. I am enough right now without doing anything. Say it even when you don't believe it. Your subconscious is listening. Practice 4. Celebrate non-productivity. At the end of each day, instead of listing what you accomplished, list moments of joy. Times you rested, things you enjoyed, ways you just were, instead of did. Retrain your brain to value being as much as doing. June through December, the integration. When Jupiter enters Leo in June, the energy shifts. Leo is about joy, play, creativity, self-expression, all things that aren't useful but are essential. You'll start to notice you can enjoy things without guilt. You can rest without feeling like you're wasting time. You can just be and feel okay. Your worth doesn't fluctuate based on your productivity. And here's the miracle. When you stop equating worth with doing, you actually become more effective when you do work because you're working from fullness, not from, I must prove my worth. The karmic reward. By the end of 2026, you'll understand that you're not a human doing. You're a human being, and your worth is inherent, not earned. You'll be able to rest deeply, play joyfully, and exist peacefully. You'll know that productivity is something you do, not something you are. And dear, that's when you'll finally feel free. Free from the hamster wheel of constant improvement. Free from the prison of perfectionism. Free to just be. Now let me show you how all 5 lessons work together, because they're interconnected, dear. Each one supports the others. The pattern, Lesson 1, self-acceptance, plus Lesson 5, worth based on being, equals you don't have to be perfect to be worthy. You're worthy as you are. Lesson 2, service versus sacrifice, plus Lesson 4, control versus surrender, equals you can't control or fix everything. And that's okay, it's not all your responsibility. Lesson 3, analysis versus paralysis, plus Lesson 4, control versus surrender, equals you don't need complete information or control to take action. Trust and move. Lesson 1, self-acceptance, plus Lesson 3, analysis versus paralysis, equals stop analyzing yourself to death. Accept yourself and live. Lesson 2, service versus sacrifice, plus Lesson 5, worth based on being, equals you don't have to sacrifice yourself to prove your worth. You're already worthy. Your 2026 month-by-month action plan. January, focus, awareness action, start your karmic lessons journal. Notice your patterns, perfectionism, overgiving, overanalyzing, controlling, productivity addiction. Don't judge, just observe. February, focus, lesson 1, self-acceptance, and lesson 4, surrender. Action, Saturn enters Aries. February 14th, major shift practice, good enough, all month. Identify one thing to surrender control over March. Focus. Lesson 4. Surrender intensifies action. Neptune enters Aries late March. Dissolution of control. Practice daily. I trust. I surrender. Let something be imperfect and messy. April to May. Focus. Lesson 2. Service. And Lesson 3. Analysis. Action. Say no to one request that would be self-sacrifice. Make one decision in under 5 minutes. Practice body wisdom. June. Focus. Lesson 5. Worth. Begins to shift. Action. Jupiter enters Leo June 9. Joy activation. Schedule 1. Completely useless, joyful activity. Rest without justifying it. July to August. Focus. Integration of all lessons. Action. Review your journal from January to June. Which lesson is hardest? That's your primary work. Practice it daily. September to December. Focus, embodiment, action. These lessons should feel more natural now. Continue practices but with less effort. Celebrate your growth. Notice how different you feel. Daily practices. All year. Morning, I am enough, I am worthy, just as I am. When perfectionism arises, good enough is good enough. When overgiving, my energy is precious, I protect it. When overanalyzing, I trust my intuition, I move forward. When controlling, I surrender what I cannot control. When feeling guilty for resting, I'm allowed to just be. Dear Virgo Moon, we're coming to the end, and I want to share something from my heart. I've worked with so many Virgo Moons over my 35 years, and do you know what I've observed? You're the hardest working people in the zodiac. You give more, do more, try more. You're so incredibly dedicated to improvement of yourself, of others, of the world. But somewhere along the way, you learned that your worth depends on your work, that you're only lovable if you're useful, that you have to earn your place in the world. And dear, that's not true. It was never true. You're worthy because you exist. You're valuable because you're alive. You're lovable because you're you. Not because of what you do, not because of what you fix, not because of how perfectly you perform, but because you are. 2026 is the year you learn this at a soul level, not just intellectually, but in your bones. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. All these lessons, accepting imperfection, setting boundaries, surrendering control, just being, they go against everything your Virgo Moon has learned. Your entire security system is built on, if I work hard enough, if I'm useful enough, if I'm perfect enough, then I'll be okay. And the universe is saying, you're already okay. You've always been okay. Stop trying so hard. That's terrifying for you, I know. It's because if you stop trying, who are you? If you're not fixing and improving, what's your purpose? If you're not useful, what's your value? And here's what I want you to discover in 2026. You are so much more than your productivity. You are so much more than your usefulness. You are a soul having a human experience. And souls don't need to justify their existence. They just are. I'm going to be here with you all year, dear. Every month, every transit, every lesson, reminding you that you're worthy, guiding you through the discomfort, celebrating your victories, supporting you through the challenges. You're not alone in this, never alone. All right, my dear Virgo Moon, it's time to let you go, but first, I need you to do something for me. First, please subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be posting monthly updates throughout 2026, specifically for moon signs. And Virgo Moon, you need ongoing support for these deep lessons. They don't happen overnight. They unfold month by month, and I'll be here explaining exactly what's happening and when. Second, hit that like button. It helps YouTube show this to other Virgo Moons who are struggling with the same patterns. The perfectionism, the overgiving, the never enough feeling. Your like helps them find this wisdom. Third, comment below. Tell me, what's your moon sign? Sun and rising too, if you know them. Which of these 5 lessons feels most challenging for you? What's one thing you're committing to practice in 2026? I read every comment, dear. Every single one. Fourth, share this with any Virgo moons you know, or anyone who struggles with perfectionism and productivity addiction. They need this too. Now, let me leave you with this. 2026 is your year to heal, dear. To finally release the burden of perfectionism. To learn that you're enough. To discover that rest isn't lazy. To understand that you don't have to earn your worth. It won't be easy. These are deep patterns you're changing. Patterns you've carried for years. Maybe lifetimes. But you can do this. You're so much stronger than you think. So much wiser than you know. So much more resilient than you believe. And by December 31st, 2026, you're going to look back and realize you're different, softer, gentler, and kinder to yourself, less anxious, less controlling, less perfectionistic, more accepting, more trusting, more at peace. That's my vision for you, dear. That's what I'm holding for you as we go through this year together. Welcome to your 2026 Virgo Moon, your year of healing, your year of release, your year of discovering that you've always been enough. I'm Susan Miller, and I'll see you next month, dear. Until then, be gentle with yourself. You're doing beautifully, even when it doesn't feel like it, especially then. Sending you so much love and light. Susan.